Ambassador Day stood before the Galactic Council chamber and felt the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him. Some of those eyes belonged to species humanity had never seen before. Others belonged to the Draxians, who currently occupied 12 seats in the Grand Hall. Their leader, High Regent Voss, sat on his elevated platform with a smile that showed too many teeth. The chamber was massive. It could hold representatives from 500 different worlds. Today it was almost full. Word had spread that the humans were going to make a formal complaint. Most species found this amusing. Humans were known as the quiet ones, the ones who asked nicely, the ones who never fought back. Day cleared his throat. His voice carried through the chamber thanks to the translation devices everyone wore. Honored council members, I come before you today with a warning. Several delegates laughed. Regent Voss leaned forward, his massive frame casting a shadow across the floor. A warning? From the humans? This should be entertaining. Day ignored the mockery. He had practiced this speech 100 times. For the past 6 months, the Draxian Empire has been taking control of neutral territories. 3 of these territories border human space. We have tried diplomatic channels. We have tried negotiation. Now we must be clear about our position. And what position is that? Voss asked. His voice boomed across the chamber. That you disapprove? That you will write another strongly worded letter? More laughter rippled through the crowd. Day waited for it to die down. Behind him, Captain Una stood at attention in her crisp uniform. She had not moved since they entered the chamber. Her face showed no emotion. Our position, Day continued, is that humanity wishes to maintain peace. We have been part of this council for 50 years. In that time, we have never started a conflict. We have never attacked another species. We have never broken our word. Yes, Voss said, waving a clawed hand dismissively. You are very peaceful, very gentle. Like small children who fear the dark. Day felt his jaw tighten, but his voice remained calm. We are peaceful by choice, not by weakness. Our species has a long history, a history filled with war. We fought each other for thousands of years. We created weapons that could destroy entire planets. We built machines of death that still haunt our nightmares. The chamber grew quieter. Some delegates leaned forward with interest. But we learned, Day said. We learned that violence has a cost. We learned that war destroys everyone, even the winners. So we made a choice. We put down our weapons. We focused on building instead of destroying. We chose peace. How touching, Voss said. A bedtime story about reformed barbarians. But you forget, Ambassador, that you are speaking to species who never needed to learn such lessons. We were civilized while you were still hitting each other with rocks. Captain Una stepped forward then. She carried a data pad in her hands. If the council permits, I would like to present evidence of humanity's military history. The council speaker, a tall being made of crystalline structures, nodded. You may proceed. Una activated the pad. Holographic images filled the air above the council floor. They showed ancient battles, medieval knights on horseback, cannons firing at stone walls, trenches filled with soldiers, mushroom clouds rising over cities, orbital bombardment, plasma weapons cutting through armor. These are records from our past, Una said. Her voice was steady and professional. We share them not to boast, but to provide context. Humanity spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of warfare. We developed strategies and tactics that our philosophers still study. We created weapons that could kill millions in seconds. And then we stopped. Why? Asked a delegate from the Corthian Union. Why would a species with such power simply stop fighting? Una looked at the delegate. Because we realized something important. The only thing harder than winning a war is living with what you become during it. We chose to be better. Regent Voss laughed again. It was a harsh sound that echoed off the walls. So you admit it. You were savages once, and now you hide behind words because you are afraid of returning to savagery. This proves my point exactly. Day shook his head slowly. You misunderstand, Regent. We are not afraid of returning to what we were. We are trying to prevent you from discovering what that means. Is that a threat? Voss stood from his seat. He towered over everyone in the chamber. His species was built for combat, with thick armor plating and multiple arms ending in sharp claws. Are you threatening the Draxian Empire? I am giving you a warning, Day said. The same warning I would give to anyone who mistakes our patience for cowardice. We have 3 colony worlds in the disputed region. Each one holds millions of human civilians. Farmers, teachers, children. If you move against those worlds, you will force us to respond. And how will you respond? Voss descended from his platform and walked toward Day. Each step was heavy and deliberate. With more speeches? More data presentations? Perhaps you will show us more pictures of your primitive past? Day did not step back. He met Voss's gaze directly. We will respond by removing our restraints, by remembering what we were, by becoming the species we worked so hard to leave behind. And I promise you, Regent, you will not enjoy the experience. Voss stopped just a meter away from Day. His breath smelled of sulfur. I claim the 3 human colonies as Draxian territory. Your civilians have 1 week to evacuate. After that, anyone remaining will be considered hostile. That is my decision. The council chamber erupted in voices. Some species protested, others remained silent. The council speaker called for order, but the noise continued. Day raised his voice above the chaos. Then I formally warn this council and the Draxian Empire. Please do not make us angry. You will not like what happens when humans are angry. Voss threw back his head and roared with laughter. Half the chamber joined him. The sound was deafening. Captain Una touched Day's arm gently. Ambassador, we should go. They turned and walked toward the exit. Behind them, the laughter continued. As they reached the doors, Day heard Voss shout one more thing. Go home, little humans. Run back to your soft beds and warm meals. The real powers will handle galactic affairs. In the corridor outside, away from the council chamber, Una looked at her ambassador. They did not listen. Day's face was tired. No, they did not. What do we do now? We prepare, Day said quietly. And we pray that Voss comes to his senses before it is too late. But in his heart, Day knew the truth. The Draxians would not stop. They saw humanity as weak. They saw the colonies as easy targets. They had no idea what they were about to unleash. The warning had been given. The galaxy had laughed. Soon, they would learn why humanity had stopped fighting itself. Soon they would understand that the most dangerous predator is the one who has learned to control its nature. Soon. But not yet. First there would be blood. Colonel Juan watched the sensors with growing dread. 12 Draxian warships had just entered Haven's orbit. More were arriving every hour. His colony world was surrounded. Haven was beautiful. Rolling green fields stretched as far as the eye could see. Mountains touched the clouds in the distance. Rivers cut through valleys where children played. 2 million people called this place home. They were farmers, artists, teachers, and dreamers. None of them were soldiers. Sir, we are receiving a transmission, said Lieutenant Sora from her position at the communication station. Put it through, Juan said. The face of High Commander Kren appeared on the main screen. He was Draxian like Regent Voss, but younger. His armor was polished to a mirror shine. His eyes held no warmth. Human colony Haven. You are now property of the Draxian Empire. Surrender immediately or face destruction. Juan took a deep breath. Commander Kren, this colony holds 2 million civilians. We need time to evacuate them. Give us 48 hours, Kren laughed. You had 1 week? That time has passed. Surrender now. Most of that week was spent trying to get transport ships here, Juan explained. His voice remained calm despite the fear in his chest. We are not a military installation. We are farmers. We have families, children. Then they should have left when they had the chance, Kren said. You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will fire on your cities. The transmission ended. The screen went dark. Juan stood in silence for a moment, then turned to his small command staff. Begin emergency evacuation procedures. Get everyone to the underground shelters. Contact every ship in the system and tell them to start ferrying people off-world. Move! The next hour passed in chaos. Alarms blared across Haven's 3 major cities. People ran through streets carrying children and precious belongings. Ground vehicles jammed the roads leading to the shelters. Ships descended from space to pick up refugees, but there were too few ships and too many people. Juan watched from the command center as his world fell apart. They had moved maybe 50,000 people. 50,000 out of 2 million. It was not enough. It would never be enough. Lieutenant Sora stood at her post coordinating the evacuation. She was 26 years old. This was her first assignment. She had joined the diplomatic corps because she believed in peace. Now she watched her screen and knew that peace was about to die. Colonel, the hour is up, she said quietly, as if in response. The Draxian ships opened fire. The first plasma bolts struck City Hall in Haven's capital. The building exploded in flames. The second volley hit a hospital, then a school, then residential blocks where families were still trying to evacuate. Juan felt his heart turn to ice. They are targeting civilian structures. Yes, sir, Sora said. Her voice shook. They are not even aiming for military installations. They are killing civilians on purpose. Get me Earth Command, Juan ordered. Priority Alpha. Tell them the Draxians have started firing on unarmed civilians. Tell them they killed children. While Sora worked on the transmission, Juan activated the colony's small defense fleet. Haven had 12 patrol ships. They were designed to stop pirates and rescue stranded travelers. They were not warships, but they were all he had. All pilots to your ships, Juan broadcast across the military channel. Defend the evacuation zones. Buy time for the civilians. Lieutenant Sora ran from her post. Juan caught her arm. Where are you going? I am a pilot, sir, she said. I belong in the sky. Sora, those are patrol ships against Draxian battlecruisers. It is suicide, she met his eyes. They are killing children, sir. Someone has to try. Juan released her arm. He wanted to order her to stay. He wanted to lock her in the command center where she might survive. But he knew she was right. Someone had to try. Go, he said. And Sora? Make them remember you. She smiled. It was a sad smile. Then she ran for the hangar. From the command center, Juan watched 12 small patrol ships rise into the sky. They were brave and fast and completely outmatched. The Draxian warships were 100 times larger. Their shields could absorb hits that would destroy a patrol ship. Their weapons could cut through armor like paper, but the human pilots did not run. They flew straight at the enemy fleet. Sora's voice came over the command channel. This is Haven Defense Flight. We are engaging the enemy. Tell our families we love them. The patrol ships opened fire. Their light cannons struck Draxian shields and did almost nothing, but they drew attention away from the cities below. The Draxian ships turned their weapons skyward. Juan watched in horror as the first patrol ship exploded. Then the second. Then the third. The Draxians were toying with them, taking their time, making the kills last. Sora's ship dodged and weaved through enemy fire. She was good. Better than good. She destroyed a Draxian fighter and damaged another. But there were too many enemies. A plasma bolt caught her wing. Her ship spun out of control. This is Sora, her voice crackled over the comm. I am hit. I am going down. But I need you all to hear this. I need Earth to hear this. They fired on children. They laughed while they did it. Do not let them get away with this. Do not show them mercy. Make them pay for every life they took today. Her ship crashed into a mountain. The explosion lit up the sky. Juan felt something break inside him. Not just grief. Something deeper. Something ancient and terrible that humanity had tried to bury. Within 30 minutes, all 12 patrol ships were destroyed. The Draxian fleet resumed firing on the cities. Buildings fell. Fire spread. People screamed and died. The death toll climbed rapidly. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. The Draxians were methodical in their destruction. They moved from sector to sector, ensuring maximum casualties. Juan sent his final report to Earth Command. His hand shook as he typed. Colony Haven under attack, estimated 50,000 civilian casualties and rising. Draxian forces targeting residential areas, hospitals, and schools. Enemy shows no interest in accepting surrender. Request immediate assistance. Request authorization to use any means necessary. Request permission to show them what happens when you murder human children. The response from Earth came faster than he expected. It was not from a junior officer or a mid-level commander. It was from General Tay himself, Chief of Military Operations for all of Earth. The message was short. Authorization granted. Rules of engagement none. Restraints removed. Show them why we stopped fighting each other. Help is coming. Make them pay for every drop of blood. Juan read the message 3 times. Then he understood what it meant. Humanity was not going to protest. Not going to write letters. Not going to talk about peace and diplomacy. Humanity was going to war. He opened a secure channel that had never been used before. A channel that connected to ships that were not supposed to exist. Bases that did not appear on any map. Weapons that the galaxy did not know about. This is Colonel Juan, Haven Colony, he said into the darkness. The enemy has fired on civilians. They have killed our children. General Tay has removed all restraints. I repeat, all restraints are removed. Come quickly. Come angry. Come ready to do what must be done. Deep in space, in places where sensors could not reach, old machines woke up. Ships that had been sleeping for decades powered on. Soldiers who had trained for a war they hoped would never come received their orders. Humanity had tried to be peaceful. Humanity had tried to be civilized. Humanity had given fair warning. The galaxy had laughed at that warning. The Draxians had answered with fire and death and the screams of burning children. Now the galaxy was about to learn a terrible truth. The most dangerous human is not the one who loves war. It is the one who hates it, but knows how to fight it better than anyone else. High Commander Kren stood on his flagship and watched Haven burn. He felt satisfied. The humans would learn their place. They would understand that the strong do what they want and the weak suffer what they must. He had no idea that in making humans suffer, he had just awakened something that should have stayed asleep forever. Admiral Jin stood on the bridge of the Shadow of Earth and watched his fleet prepare for war. 50 ships hung in space around him. They were black as the void itself. No lights, no markings, no identification codes. For 40 years, these ships had waited in the dark places between stars. Now they were going to Haven. Status report, Jin said quietly. All ships report ready, Admiral, answered his second officer. Weapons charged. Drives at full power. Crews at battle stations, Jin nodded. He was 58 years old. He had joined the military when humanity first reached the stars. Back then, people asked him why Earth needed warships when they had chosen peace. He always gave the same answer. Peace is a choice, not a weakness. Open a channel to all ships, he said. Galaxy-wide broadcast. Every species with a radio would hear what came next. Jin wanted them to hear. He wanted them to understand. This is Admiral Jin of the Earth Defense Fleet. For 50 years, humanity has lived peacefully among the stars. We asked for nothing except to be left alone. We warned those who threatened us. We gave fair chance to avoid conflict. His voice was calm but cold as ice. The Draxian Empire ignored our warnings. They attacked our colony world. They fired on civilians. They murdered our children. This is humanity's only mercy. Leave our space now or stay forever. The transmission ended. Jin looked at his navigator. Take us to Haven, maximum speed. The fleet vanished. Not slowly, not with a flash. They simply stopped existing in one place and appeared in another. Quantum displacement drives. Technology the galaxy did not know humans possessed. One moment, empty space. The next moment, 50 warships. They emerged in Haven's orbit right in the middle of the Draxian fleet. High Commander Kren was drinking victory wine when the alarm started screaming. He nearly dropped his cup. What is happening? Unknown ships, sir, his sensor officer shouted. They just appeared out of nowhere. Right on top of us. Kren ran to the command deck. His view screen showed 50 black ships arranged in a perfect formation. They were smaller than his battle cruisers, but somehow more threatening. They moved with an eerie grace like sharks circling prey. How many ships do they have? Kren demanded. 50, sir. We have 500. The odds are in our favor, Kren smiled. Open fire. Destroy them all. The Draxian fleet unleashed everything. Plasma cannons, missile pods, energy beams. Enough firepower to crack a moon. The human ships did not even try to dodge. They just sat there and took it, except nothing happened. Every shot stopped short of the human vessels. They hit some kind of invisible barrier and simply vanished. The energy, the missiles, the plasma, all of it disappeared like raindrops in the ocean. Report, Kren screamed. Sir, they have shields we cannot penetrate. Our weapons are having no effect. Then fire more. Fire everything. The Draxian fleet poured fire into the human ships. For 2 full minutes they fired without stopping, and for 2 full minutes nothing happened. Then the human ships fired back. Admiral Jin watched the tactical display with no emotion on his face. Singularity missiles full spread. Quantum lances target their command ships. Neural AI engage independent combat protocols. Firing, said his weapons officer. The black ships opened up. What emerged was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Missiles that created tiny black holes. Energy beams that phased through shields and armor. Weapons guided by artificial intelligence that could think faster than any living being. The first Draxian battlecruiser simply collapsed into itself. A singularity missile had created a micro-black hole inside its hull. The ship folded like paper and vanished into a point of infinite gravity. The second ship lasted longer. 3 seconds longer. A quantum lance punched through its shields, through its armor, through its reactor core. The explosion lit up the night side of Haven like a second sun. The third, fourth, and fifth ships died so fast that their crews never knew what killed them. The human AI systems identified weak points, calculated firing solutions, and executed attacks in microseconds. Kren watched his fleet die. Ships that had conquered a dozen worlds, veterans of 100 battles. They fell like wheat before a scythe. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted. "All ships scatter formation." But the human ships moved faster. Much faster. They did not fly like normal vessels. They jumped, short little quantum hops that let them appear behind enemy ships, above them, inside their formations. A human ship materialized directly above Kren's flagship. It fired once. The shot went through the command deck and out the bottom of the ship, creating a perfect hole 10 meters wide. Atmosphere screamed out into space. Half of Kren's bridge crew died instantly. Emergency bulkheads sealed. Kren picked himself up from the floor. His elegant armor was scorched and dented. "Get us out of here, retreat." All ships retreat, but there was nowhere to retreat to. The human ships were everywhere. They moved like ghosts, struck like lightning, killed like nothing Kren had ever seen. On the surface of Haven, Colonel Juan watched through the command center's damaged windows. Fire still burned across the cities. Bodies still lay in the streets. But above, in orbit, the sky was filled with explosions as Draxian ships died one after another. "How many have we lost?" he asked. An officer checked his console. "None, sir. Not a single human ship has been hit." Juan felt a grim satisfaction. "Good." The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it was over, 500 Draxian warships were destroyed. Every single one. The human fleet had not lost a single vessel. Not one ship damaged, not one casualty. Admiral Jin broadcast again on all channels. "The Draxian fleet at Haven has been eliminated. To all other Draxian forces, you have 24 hours to leave human space. After that, we will come for you. We will find you, and we will remove you." On the Draxian homeworld, Regent Voss watched the battle recordings. His advisors stood in stunned silence. Some of them were crying. "How?" Voss whispered. "How is this possible?" They were peaceful. They were weak. They never showed such power before. An old Draxian general, scarred from a dozen wars, spoke up. "With respect, Regent, they showed us exactly what they were. We just did not listen. They warned us they had a history of war. They told us they had chosen peace. We thought that meant they were afraid to fight. We were wrong. So what do we do?" Voss asked. "We leave their space," the general said, "or we die." But Voss was proud. And proud beings make poor decisions. "No, we call the other council species. We form an alliance. We cannot let these humans humiliate the Draxian Empire." He sent messages to every major power in the galaxy. He asked for help. He promised wealth, territory, anything they wanted. But every species that watched the battle recordings gave the same answer. No. The Korthians said they would not fight a species that could destroy 500 ships in 17 minutes. The Veltans said they preferred to remain neutral. The Karathi simply said that attacking humanity's children was dishonorable, and they would not defend those who did such things. Voss was alone. His empire was vast, his fleets were mighty, but he was alone against an enemy he did not understand. On Earth, Dr. Hana stood in her laboratory deep beneath the surface. Around her, teams of scientists monitored the battle data. They had designed the weapons, the shields, the drives, everything that made the Ghost Fleet possible. "The quantum lances performed perfectly," one scientist reported. 99.7% efficiency. "The singularity missiles were even better," another added. 100% kill rate. Dr. Hana nodded, but she did not smile. "Good work, everyone. But remember, these weapons exist because we failed to keep the peace. Every shot fired is a mark against humanity's better nature." "They killed children," a young scientist said angrily. "They deserved what they got." "Perhaps," Dr. Hana agreed. "But we should never enjoy being good at killing. That is when we become monsters ourselves." Back at Haven, Captain Hyun and his Special Forces team materialized inside a Draxian supply base. They moved like shadows, silent and deadly. Their mission was simple: destroy the enemy's ability to make war. Within 2 hours, they had sabotaged the base's weapons manufacturing, destroyed its fuel reserves, and corrupted its tactical computers. They left no one alive who had raised a weapon against them, but they also left medical supplies and food for the civilian workers they found. Because humans remembered the difference between soldiers and innocents. The galaxy watched all of this happen. Ships from 100 different species recorded everything. They saw humanity's power. They saw the terrible efficiency of human warfare. They saw 500 ships destroyed in minutes, but they also saw something else. They saw that humans targeted only military vessels. They saw precision strikes instead of wild destruction. They saw a species that was terrifyingly good at war, but still tried to minimize casualties, and they were afraid. Not just of human weapons, but of human restraint. Because a species that can kill you easily but chooses not to is more frightening than one that simply wants you dead. Ambassador Day addressed the Galactic Council one more time. The chamber was silent now. No one laughed. "We warned you," he said simply. "You chose not to listen. Now you see what we tried to avoid. This is what humans are when you make us angry. This is what we left behind. This is why we chose peace." He paused, looking at each delegate in turn. "The war has begun. It will end when the Draxian Empire surrenders completely. And it we?" Fleet Admiral Minho studied the holographic map of Draxian space. 2 months had passed since Haven. In that time, humanity had not stopped moving. Not for a single day. "Status of the campaign," he said to Commander Nari. Nari pulled up her datapad. She was 32 years old and had spent the last decade building the most comprehensive intelligence network in the galaxy. While humanity smiled and talked about peace, Nari had quietly mapped every Draxian military base, every supply route, every hidden installation. "Draxian Sector 7 is ours," she reported. "We control 43 of their outer colonies. Their 3rd, 5th, and 7th fleets have been destroyed. Enemy casualties exceed 2 million soldiers. Our casualties remain minimal." "How minimal?" Minho asked. 300 wounded. 12 dead. All from accidents, not combat. Minho nodded slowly. The numbers would seem impossible to anyone who had not seen human military planning in action. But humanity had spent 10,000 years learning how to kill efficiently. They had studied every war, every battle, every tactical mistake and triumph. When they finally went to war in space, they brought all of that knowledge with them. "Show me the plan for Sector 8, Minho said. Nari displayed the tactical overview. Sector 8 contained the Draxian Military Academy and their largest shipyard. Taking it would cripple their ability to train new soldiers and build new ships. "We have 3 options, Nari explained. Full assault, siege, or infiltration. Casualties for each. Full assault would cost the enemy about 500,000 lives. Siege would take 6 months and starve them out. Infiltration could take the sector with almost no deaths." "Then we infiltrate," Minho said immediately. "We are not butchers. We fight to win, but we do not kill when we can avoid it. Sir, some of the other admirals think we should be harsher. They want revenge for Haven." Minho's face hardened. "Revenge is what children want. Justice is what adults seek. We will defeat the Draxians completely, but we will not become them. Pass my orders to all fleet commanders. Minimize casualties where possible. Target military assets only. Treat prisoners according to galactic law." "Yes, sir." Across Draxian space, the systematic dismantling continued. Human ships appeared where they were not expected. They struck with perfect timing. They knew where enemy ships would be before those ships knew themselves. The Draxians tried everything. They set traps. They used decoys. They changed their codes daily. Nothing worked. Commander Nari's intelligence network was too deep. She had agents on Draxian worlds. She had tapped their communications. She had even recruited some Draxians who were horrified by what their empire had done at Haven. On the Draxian colony of Bazara, the planetary governor received a message. It appeared on his private screen, the one that should have been impossible to hack. "Governor, this is Fleet Admiral Minho of Earth. In 6 hours, human forces will arrive to secure your world. You have a choice. Surrender peacefully and your people will be treated well. Resist and we will take the planet anyway, but people will die. Choose wisely." The governor looked at his military advisor. "How strong are our defenses?" "We have a garrison of 50,000 soldiers. Planetary shields. Orbital defense platforms. It would take months to conquer us." The governor thought about Haven. He thought about 500 ships destroyed in 17 minutes. He thought about the reports of other worlds that had tried to resist. None had succeeded. Most had lost thousands of soldiers in minutes. "Open a channel to Admiral Minho," he said. "We surrender. Tell the humans we will not resist." It was the same story across Draxian space. Some colonies fought. They died, most surrendered. They lived. Within 2 months, the Draxian Empire was losing ground faster than they could call for help. On Earth, Ambassador Gina prepared for her first address to the Galactic Council. She was younger than Day, harder. She had been on Haven when the Draxians attacked. She had pulled burned children from rubble. She had held a dying teacher's hand as the woman begged Gina to tell her students she loved them. Gina did not believe in gentle diplomacy anymore. "Honored Council," she said to the gathered delegates. 2 months ago, the Draxian Empire attacked our colony. They killed 50,000 civilians. They targeted schools and hospitals. They laughed while they did it. The chamber was silent. Everyone knew what had happened since. Many of you have asked us to show restraint, to seek peace, to forgive. Gina's voice was cold. Where was your concern when Draxian ships were burning our children? Where were your calls for restraint when they fired on hospitals? Where was the Galactic Council when we needed you? No one answered. The Draxian Empire has controlled this council for too long. They have committed atrocities against dozens of species. They have conquered peaceful worlds. They have enslaved populations, and you all looked away because you were afraid of them. Gina stepped forward. We are not afraid. We are angry, and we will not stop until the Draxian Empire is broken completely, not just defeated, broken, so that they can never hurt anyone again. Regent Voss tried to speak. Ambassador, surely we can negotiate. Did you negotiate with the children of Haven? Gina cut him off. Did you listen when they begged for mercy? Did you give them a chance to surrender? Voss fell silent. This war ends when you surrender unconditionally, Gina continued. When you submit to war crimes tribunals. When you dismantle your military. When you pay reparations for every life you took and every world you ruined. Those are our terms. There will be no negotiation. Fleet Admiral Minho's forces pushed deeper into Draxian territory. They used tactics from Earth's ancient military texts, Sun Tzu's deception, Rommel's speed, Napoleon's concentration of force, but adapted for space, made new, made terrifying. The human ships did not just fight. They created fear. They would appear on sensors, then vanish. They would broadcast audio of screaming metal and dying ships to enemy forces. They would leave destroyed fleets floating in space as warnings. Psychological warfare. Something humans had perfected over millennia of fighting each other. Captain Huon and his special forces struck at the heart of Draxian leadership. They infiltrated command centers. They corrupted communication networks. They made Draxian officers afraid to sleep because humans might appear in their rooms at night. We do not need to kill everyone, Hyun told his team. We just need to make them understand that nowhere is safe, that we can reach anyone anywhere anytime. Fear is a weapon just like any gun. His team moved through Draxian space like ghosts. They destroyed weapon depots. They freed prisoners from labor camps. They left messages. Humanity remembers. Humanity does not forgive. Back on the Draxian homeworld, Voss watched his empire collapse. Planet after planet surrendered or fell. His fleets ran from human ships. His allies abandoned him. His own people began to question his leadership. His military council gathered for an emergency meeting. The old general who had warned him months ago spoke first. Regent, we must surrender. We have lost half our territory, 3/4 of our military. Our economy is collapsing. Our people are starving because the humans control all our supply routes. We are Draxian, Voss roared. We do not surrender to inferior species. They are not inferior, another general said quietly. They never were. They were just kind enough to let us think so. We mistook their mercy for weakness. That mistake is destroying us. Then we gather every ship we have left, Voss said desperately. We make one final stand. We show them that Draxians die with honor. What honor is there in needless death? The old general asked. What honor was there in killing their children? Regent, you have led us to ruin. The only question now is whether we lose our empire or our entire species. Voss looked at his council. He saw fear in their eyes. Fear and anger. Anger at him. I will not surrender, he said. Then you will do it alone, the old general replied. He removed his rank insignia and placed it on the table. I will not lead soldiers to die for your pride. I resign. One by one, the other generals did the same. They walked out of the war room, leaving Voss alone with his rage and his shame. Outside the palace, Draxian citizens gathered. They held signs demanding peace. They chanted for Voss to step down. They were tired of war, tired of losing, tired of watching their sons and daughters die for a leader who would not admit he was wrong. Fleet Admiral Minho received the intelligence reports. The Draxian military was fracturing. The government was unstable. The people wanted peace. "It is time," he told Commander Nari. "Prepare the fleet for the final operation. We go to the Draxian homeworld." "All ships, sir?" "Every single one. I want them to look up and see our fleet covering their sky. I want them to understand that we could destroy them completely if we chose to. And I want them to see that we choose not to." The human armada gathered, hundreds of ships, every vessel that had fought in the campaign. They formed up in perfect formation and jumped to the Draxian homeworld. When they appeared in orbit, the planet's sensors went crazy. Warning sirens blared across every city. Parents grabbed their children. Soldiers ran to defensive positions. Everyone looked up at the sky, and they saw a fleet so large it blocked out the stars. Admiral Minho broadcast on every channel in the Draxian language. "People of Draxia, we could destroy your world in minutes. We could glass your cities. We could ensure that nothing ever grows here again. But we will not. Despite what your leaders did to our people, we remember that you are not all guilty. Your children are not guilty. Your elders are not guilty," he paused. "But your government is guilty. Your military leadership is guilty. Regent Voss is guilty. We are not here to kill you. We are here to demand justice. Surrender now, face your crimes and live. Refuse, and we will take your surrender by force." On the ground, Voss sat alone in his palace. His guards had fled. His advisors had resigned. His family had disowned him. He looked at the fleet above and finally understood what he had done. He had attacked humanity's children, and now humanity's parents had come for revenge. He reached for his communication device with shaking hands. There was only one thing left to do. He broadcast to the entire planet, to the human fleet, to the galaxy. "I am Regent Voss. I surrender. I surrender unconditionally. Please, please show mercy. I beg you." Admiral Minho listened to the plea. He thought about Haven, about 50,000 dead, about Lieutenant Sora dying while asking for justice. "Did you show mercy?" he asked quietly. Then he ended the transmission and gave his orders. "Prepare landing teams. Take Voss into custody. Secure all military facilities." "And Commander Nari?" "Yes, sir. Make sure the Draxian civilians know they are safe. We are not here to conquer. We are here for justice." President Quan stood in the United Earth Assembly Hall and felt the weight of history on his shoulders. Every leader of humanity was present, either in person or by hologram. They had come to decide the fate of an empire. "The Draxian government has surrendered," Quan announced. "Regent Voss is in custody. Their military has laid down arms. The war is over. Now we must decide what comes next." The hall erupted in voices. Some called for complete destruction of Draxian military capability. Others demanded harsh penalties. A few even suggested taking control of their worlds permanently. Admiral Jin stood at the military section. "Mr. President, if I may speak," Quan nodded. "The floor recognizes Admiral Jin." "I have fought in this war from the first day," Jin said. His voice carried clearly through the hall. "I have seen what Draxian weapons did to Haven. I have seen the bodies of our children. I have personally given orders that destroyed their fleets. But I must ask this assembly a question. What do we want to be?" "What do you mean?" asked a representative from Mars. "Do we want to be conquerors? Do we want to be the species that others fear? Or do we want to be what we have always claimed to be, better than those who hurt us?" "They killed 50,000 of our people," someone shouted. "And we have destroyed their military," Jin replied. "We have taken their leaders into custody. We have demonstrated that no one can attack humanity and survive. The question is not whether we can destroy them completely. The question is whether we should." President Quan raised his hand for silence. "The Admiral is right. Before we vote on the Draxian settlement, there is someone who should be heard. Bring in the witness." The doors opened. A young girl walked in. She was 14 years old, thin and scarred. Her name was Ari. She was one of the survivors from Haven. Ari's family had died in the first bombardment. Her mother, father, and little brother were in City Hall when it exploded. She had been at school. She survived by hiding in a basement for 3 days while the city burned around her. Quan spoke gently. Ari, you do not have to do this if you do not want to. I want to, Ari said. Her voice was small but steady. People should hear from someone who was there. The hall was completely silent. Every representative leaned forward to listen. The Draxians killed my family, Ari said. They killed my teachers. They killed my friends. I still have nightmares about the sounds, the explosions, the screaming. Sometimes I wake up thinking I am still in that basement waiting to die. Tears ran down her cheeks, but she kept talking. I hate them for what they did. Part of me will always hate them. But I came here today to say something important. Something my mother taught me before she died. She looked around the hall. She taught me that being strong does not mean hurting others. It means protecting others. She taught me that the greatest power is knowing when to stop. She taught me that revenge makes you feel good for a moment, but mercy makes you better forever. Ari wiped her eyes. The Draxians have families too. They have children too. Those children did not fire the weapons. They did not give the orders. If we destroy Draxia completely, we make thousands of children suffer like I suffered. And then we become what they were. She turned to President Quan. My mom died because the Draxians forgot how to be kind. Do not let her die for nothing. Do not let my pain turn you into monsters. Show the galaxy that humans can be angry and still be good. Please. The hall was silent when she finished. Many representatives were crying. Even Admiral Jin, who had commanded fleets and made hard decisions without flinching, had tears on his face. President Quan stood. Thank you, Ari. You have more courage than most soldiers. Your mother would be proud. After Ari left, the assembly voted. The decision was not easy. There were arguments. There were disagreements. But in the end, humanity chose mercy. The terms were harsh but fair. The Draxian Empire would be completely disarmed. They could keep defensive forces only, not invasion fleets. They would pay reparations for 100 years. Every credit would go to rebuilding Haven and helping the survivors. Regent Voss and his high command would face trial for war crimes. But the Draxian people would not be punished for the sins of their leaders. Their economy would not be destroyed. Their culture would not be erased. They would have a chance to rebuild, to become better, to learn from their mistakes. Ambassador Day returned to the Galactic Council for the final time. He was old now. The war had aged him. But he walked into the chamber with his head high. Honored delegates, he said, the war with the Draxian Empire is over. I come before you to present the terms of peace and to make a final statement on behalf of humanity. The chamber waited. Everyone knew that humanity could demand anything now. They had the power. They had the right. After what the Draxians did, no one would question harsh terms. Humanity has defeated the Draxian Empire completely, Day said. We have dismantled their war machine. We have captured their leaders. We have shown that we can fight and win when we must. But today we also show that we know when to stop. He displayed the peace terms. As delegates read them, surprise spread through the chamber. The terms were firm but merciful. There was justice but not vengeance. Some of you expected us to destroy them, Day continued. Perhaps you thought we would take their worlds, enslave their people, show the same cruelty they showed us. But that is not who we are. He looked directly at where the Draxian delegation had once sat. A new representative was there now, a civilian chosen by the Draxian people after they removed Voss from power. We warned you that making us angry was dangerous, Day said. But we did not tell you the whole truth. The most dangerous thing about angry humans is not our weapons. It is not our tactics or our technology. The most dangerous thing is that even when we are furious, even when we have every right to destroy you, we still remember mercy. He paused. Because a species that perfects war but chooses peace is stronger than any weapon. A species that can kill easily but refuses to do so needlessly is more frightening than any fleet. You thought our kindness was weakness. You were wrong. Our kindness is the most terrifying thing about us because it means we are always in control, even in rage. The new Draxian representative stood. His name was Elder Corvin, a teacher who had protested against the war from the beginning. Ambassador Day, on behalf of the Draxian people, I must speak, Corvin said. His voice shook with emotion. We do not deserve your mercy. Our government committed atrocities. We allowed it to happen. We should be punished more harshly than this. You are right that you do not deserve mercy, Day replied. Mercy is not about deserving. It is about choosing to be better than those who hurt you. Your people will face consequences. You will pay for what was done. But you will also have a chance to heal, to grow, to become a better society. That chance is our gift to you. Use it wisely. Corvin bowed deeply. We will. I swear on behalf of all Draxians, we will never forget what humanity showed us today. We will teach our children about this, about how mercy is stronger than hatred, how forgiveness is braver than revenge. The Galactic Council passed the peace terms unanimously. For the first time in its history, the entire council agreed on something important. Back on Earth, Admiral Jin stood down his fleet. The ships that had fought so efficiently, killed so precisely, defended so bravely, returned to the shadows. They would remain there, hidden, ready if needed, but hoping never to be called again. Dr. Hana sealed away the weapons research. The singularity missiles, the quantum lances, all of it went into secure storage. These exist because we failed to keep the peace, she told her team. Let them gather dust. Let future generations forget we even built them. Captain Hyun returned to his normal life. He became a teacher, ironically. He taught young people about strategy and tactics. But he also taught them about restraint, about knowing when to fight and when to show mercy. His students called him the kindest tough person they ever met. On Haven, reconstruction began. The cities were rebuilt. The hospitals and schools were restored. A memorial was created for the 50,000 who died. Every name was carved into stone. Every face was remembered. Ari stood at the memorial on the first anniversary of the attack. She placed flowers by her family's names. Around her, thousands of other survivors did the same. A Draxian approached. He was young, maybe 17. He wore civilian clothes and carried flowers. I am sorry, he said to Ari in broken human language. My father was a soldier. He was here during the attack. He died in the battle with your fleet. But before that, he killed people. Maybe he killed your family. I'm sorry. I came to say sorry. Ari looked at him. She saw tears in his eyes. She saw genuine remorse. She saw a person, not an enemy. What is your name? She asked. Kelvin, he said. My name is Ari. She held out her hand. Your father made terrible choices, but you are not your father. You chose to come here. You chose to apologize. That takes courage. Kelvin took her hand. They stood together at the memorial, two young people whose lives were destroyed by a war neither wanted. Can you forgive? Kelvin asked. Ari thought about her mother, about mercy being stronger than revenge. I do not know if I can forgive yet. The pain is still too fresh, but I can choose not to hate you. That is a start. They placed their flowers together at the memorial. It was a small gesture, but small gestures can change worlds. President Kwan gave a final speech to Earth. We went to war because we had no choice. We fought with everything we had because our children's lives demanded it. We won because we are very good at war, but we showed mercy because we are even better at being human. He looked directly into the camera. Let this be a lesson to the galaxy and to ourselves. We are dangerous when angry. We are terrifying when unleashed. But we are truly powerful when we choose compassion over cruelty, mercy over vengeance, peace over endless war. The speech was broadcast across every human world and to every species in the galaxy. It became the most watched message in history. Ambassador Day retired after the peace treaty. He went to live on Haven, helping with the reconstruction. When people asked him why, he said, because I warned them and they did not listen. The least I can do is help heal what my words could not prevent. The Galactic Council created new laws. Laws about protecting civilians. Laws about limiting aggressive expansion. Laws about respecting warnings from peaceful species. They called them the Haven Accords. Humanity took its place as the Council's peacekeeping force. Not because they wanted power, but because they had proven something important. They had shown they could fight when necessary and stop when wise. That combination made them the only species trusted by everyone. The Draxian Empire slowly rebuilt. They became a democracy. They taught their children about the war and what led to it. They became advocates for peace, using their own mistakes as lessons for others. And in the darkness between stars, 50 black ships waited. They hoped never to be needed again. But they were ready. Because humanity had learned a final lesson. The best way to prevent war is to be so good at it that no one dares to start one. Ari grew up and became a diplomat, like Ambassador Day. On her first day at work, Someone asked her why she chose that profession after everything she had been through. She smiled, because my mother taught me that the strongest weapon is not the one that kills. It is the one that makes killing unnecessary. I want to be that weapon. And across the galaxy, when young species asked about humanity, their elders told them 3 truths. Never attack their children. Never ignore their warnings. And never mistake their mercy for weakness, because mercy from an angry human is the most dangerous gift you can receive.